Well, Kelly, first it was a DOC email that referenced the prison closings. Then it was a newsletter by the DOC director, Justin Jones. Tonight we have this letter the DOC sent to Senator Glenn Coffey, which once again speaks of prison closings. It's the first line in the body of a letter sent to Senator Glenn Coffey from DOC Director Justin Jones. It reads, "Per your request, the attached cost analysis scenarios for possible facility closings are provided. It came with a report on 3 prisons in Helena, Granite, and Stringtown."
That's not a request by my office. That's Justin Jones' characterization of what he thinks I asked him to do.
It's the same denial we heard just yesterday from Public Safety Subcommittee Chair Anthony Sykes.
Any talk of prison closing is based on speculation and rumor and not based on any kind of fact.
But on 3 separate DOC documents obtained by News 9, the wording is the same. An email, Director Jones's newsletter, and now this letter to Coffey all mention prison closings. Coffey maintains the DOC got it wrong. How can something so basic be so misunderstood by several different chains of command throughout the DOC?
Well, if the director misunderstands the conversation, then he could misinterpret it. And then
Coffey says this report that came with Jones's letter was part of a legislative commissioned audit to see where the state can save money. Even though it mentions private prison costs, Coffey claims no prisons are currently on the chopping block. But that statement provided no comfort to State Senator Tom Ivester, who has one of those prisons in his district.
It'd be devastating for Southwest Oklahoma to lose a $10 million payroll in rural Oklahoma. That would be a huge hit.
Coffey took Ivester to task for what he calls an alarmist approach and says that any report regarding those prisons are premature.
No decisions have been made whatsoever. We're simply trying to gather all the facts.
Now, Coffey did say all options are being considered. A report should be completed, Kelly, by the end of the month.
New at 10, Dave Jordan sat down with Senator Coffey, who denies the move was vindictive.
But, Amy, despite that denial, Senator Coffey has a hard time convincing at least one Senate Democrat that this is not a retaliation against the DOC. There were questions raised tonight, not so much about the language in this measure, but its timing. The language is clear, a motion to remove the board of the Department of Corrections and put the governor in charge of appointing its director. The main Senate supporter, Glenn Coffey.
The governor ought to have a hand in corrections policy and be able to appoint their person there.
The bill was filed Tuesday, just a few hours before our interview with Senator Coffey over newly released documents from DOC Director Justin Jones. Those documents revealed preliminary plans to close 3 state prisons. The timing is coincidental, Coffey says, and he has no problem with Jones's leadership.
I think he's worked well with me. We had a disagreement about one meeting, but that has nothing to do. I'm not upset with him. This isn't retribution.
This is another example of if you don't agree with Senator Coffey, there's consequences and retribution.
Democratic Senator Kenneth Corn, who once chaired the Public Safety Committee in the Senate, questions the timing of this measure.
It's clearly, I think, an abuse of power. Your story came out, and then later that afternoon, after you've interviewed him, we have this amendment filed.
The amendment has nothing to do with the original House bill it replaced. That bill was designed to overhaul the state medical examiner's office. Coffey says there was a similar measure already in place, so he decided to introduce the amendment as a means to overhaul the DOC. He says Senator Corn is politicizing the issue.
He's uninformed and has a lack of knowledge of the decision-making behind this decision, and I simply disagree with him.
Now, Corn told me tonight that he is prepared to object to this measure when it's introduced on the floor for a vote. That is slated to happen within 2 weeks.